I feel good. I think today's gonna be awesome as long as it doesn't rain.
Oh, I think it's gonna be great. I think we're gonna hike up there and just crush the mountain. What do you think?
Just gonna drink a coffee.
Get up at 5, hopefully start hiking by 5:30.
I actually think it's clear right now. You can see the stars. We're at the trailhead and we're gonna hike in like 5 miles. We're going rock climbing.
Should we do this? It's like 5:40 or something.
It's 5:45. Everything's fine so far.
It's sending time.
It's definitely not sending time.
Well, we got a sense of the approach. It's a pretty impressive wall.
You have like the flat desert on the east side, and then all of a sudden you have the mountains. It's like the biggest we have in the lower 48. They're my favorite mountains.
Yeah, mine too, maybe.
Alex wants to simul climb the first 4 pitches of the route. I was thinking we just climb it like normal people. He can't like chill.
I think Emily just doesn't respect my art.
That might be true too. We'll be a team.
I don't know about team. This is what it takes to send the no, you know? Look good, climb good. The hard pitches are pitch 5 and then 7, 8, and 9. We'll do pitch 1, this is a long pitch, and then link 2 and 3.
And then we'll climb pitch 4, which is the 5-12. I did hear the 5th pitch was hard though.
That's
a
the
12B, a short 12B.
60 feet, so we could pitch that out too. Oh, it's like a delight, yeah. It seems easier than top 11. Okay, I'm into the next pitch.
Okay.
I really like this face hunter. As long as the holds don't fall off. These holds are that are gonna fall off.
It's 12C. It's really strange, like crescent.
I'm ready for the storm. Nice, Em.
Harley, this is hard.
So what's the deal with all this shit? Just like crimping up the arete?
Yeah, you kind of convert over to your red now. So it's like probably red hold.
My knot was stuck on the red.
So glorious. Nice work. Yeah.
That was fun.
We just climbed solar flare. Oh yeah. Pretty good route actually. That was like really cool.
It's a really good route.
We made next time it'd be harder.
Yeah.
And bigger.
The very definition of hard rock climbing. I mean, you're up there climbing super hard moves, 2,000 feet off the ground, sleeping on the wall, having this great adventure, and it's historic. It's what people have been doing for decades. It's a benchmark achievement, and I want to have that for myself. I've put a lot of energy in the last 3 years into learning how to trad climb. I've always had it in my mind that I would try to climb El Cap. That was something that I wanted to do someday. And since sort of delving more into traditional climbing and climbing on granite, that idea became more realistic. And I finally feel like I'm ready to at least attempt to free climb. Do this right here.
Emily had this dream of freeing El Cap and wanted a partner, needed a partner.
And he has a lot of experience with climbing and in the mountains.
I love thinking about every tea bag we're gonna bring, every battery, how everything's gonna work, worst case scenarios.
Aside from climbing, it's a massive amount of effort. You have to have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. We're gonna practice hauling now, because we don't know how to haul. Adrian's never climbed a big wall before either. He's never hauled. We're trying to figure this out together. We spent the first day hauling all of our stuff. So we ascended some fixed ropes and hauled it all up with us. We're dealing with really heavy loads. We won't have to like rely on anyone else on the ground to bring us anything. We are going to start tomorrow and try to go from the ground to the top in one big push. My goal is to free climb every pitch cleanly.
We just spent the whole day on El Cap. This is day 1 of 6.
Unless I totally choke. I've never done this before, but I think that's sort of the nature of climbing on El Cap, is there's so much uncertainty and you just have to go try. Like it comes to a point where you can't just keep rapping down it and working the moves. You just have to go try.
I kind of feel like I might have forgotten how to climb, but I'm sure that's not true.
I was pretty anxious and nervous. Just the entire project felt like it was finally happening. We're just getting up and getting things ready. Today I'm really not looking forward to climbing the monster. I'm feeling a little bit more nervous and scared and anxious. The monster offwidth is something that's so scary and intimidating to me. You have to kind of wedge your body into this crack.
Watching Emily struggle on the monster 2.5 hours on the pitch, I didn't know if she could get through it, and I really didn't think she could try it again.
And it was a complete epic battle. I had to fight so hard every single second I was on that pitch. And mentally, physically, everything, it was completely and utterly draining. I kept having to remind myself to not panic. I don't think I've ever exerted myself so hard on a single pitch of rock climbing.
I sort of want to die right now.
I felt like I fought super hard on it, and it made me determined for the rest of the route. I did not escape the monster unscathed. I had 2 huge holes in my left elbow.
There's some blood, there's some scrapes, there's some bruises that look like she's just been like beaten. Em's mental strength, I think, is what's gotten her so far already, and I think she'll be able to push through sort of like the suffering that I think is to come.
I'm glad it's over. Today took a lot out of me. I just really hope I can do the down climb.
The style really changes after today, and I just can't wait to see her start throwing down.
Well, the biggest question for me is the 512 down climb. It's rated 12C. It's a slab. It felt super perplexing. That pitch had been haunting me just because I felt like it might be impossible for me, and I didn't know if I could do it.
Oh! I had a meltdown on the down climb, for sure. But then usually when I get really upset, I tend to let things go. And then when I try again, for whatever reason, maybe I'm a little more relaxed, things fall into place.
In the end, I managed to figure it out. In a way, I guess it was a little bit surprising because in my head, deep down, I really didn't know if it was possible.
It's a miracle.
After pulling off the down climb, I felt a lot more confident because that was the one thing that I didn't know if I could do. Once again, it was go time, turning towards the next pitches. It was a super exhausting and epic day.
Where else do you toil so much just with surviving? Then you get to climb 513, 2,200 feet off the ground. It's just this massive challenge mentally and physically and emotionally. 2 years ago, I probably couldn't have even sent one pitch on this route. You have to be an all-around climber in order to succeed up here.
We're right underneath the move pitch, which is the hardest pitch on the route. I have to try really hard and just keep it together and be mentally strong. I didn't have it that day and decided to take a rest day after that.
I'm having some doubts, but I really want to do it. But I'm worried that I don't have what it takes right now.
Emotionally, the tension was just ratcheted so high.
I still had 1,200 feet of climbing ahead of me.
No.
There was one move that was sort of my barrier to sending 3,000 feet of climbing. For me, that's really, really hard to deal with mentally. It was a huge struggle.
I can't do this. I can't do it.
Up there, you're in a bubble that is just your team, and you're responsible for yourselves, and no one else really has any clue what you're going through in terms of suffering or success.
One of the most important roles of a good partner is having them there to support you in those dark times when inevitably you're going to say, I can't do it, I won't do it, I don't want to do it.
That was just a hard go, those hard moves without any warm-up.
Just can't seem to put it together. My skin is ruined. I'm bleeding from everywhere. I'm tired.
Everything was wrong, and yet she still had to find a way to succeed, and that, I think, was a low point. And I really didn't know how to help her to come back out of that. You know, all we could really do is like, we're here, we're not going anywhere. You need to find one more place that you can pull something out of. Em likes to bring us all to the darkest, deepest place and then just throw down. That happened again today.
And I managed to send it at the end of the day, which was a huge relief. I sent the pitch, continued climbing up through probably the last wide pitch called the Chicken Wing Chimney, and it was absolutely terrifying and awful, just like all of the wide climbing on El Cap. I feel super claustrophobic just even thinking about it. That evening, I sent the Golden Desert pitch, which is probably one of the most beautiful pitches of rock climbing I've ever done.
I knew I could do that, and I'm glad that I did, and I didn't like mentally fall apart. I have like 40 more feet of hard climbing. Going right there. That's all I have to do. Be on the top this afternoon.
When Em tops out, she's gonna have earned every bit of it.
I had to do the A5 traverse. It's probably pitch 35, and it's just a 13A 40-foot traverse. I woke up that morning and just gave it hell. I fell at the end, right at the anchors. I'd learned at that point that on El Cap, nothing is for sure until you're standing on the top. I just got in the zone and climbed the way that I know how to climb. So that pitch was the very last difficult pitch on the route. It was the barrier to the summit.
Oh! I sent the last hard pitch on Golden Gate.
Oh my God, I can taste the tequila.
I can't really even explain what it felt like to stand on the top. It's a pretty surreal experience to have started on the bottom of a 3,000-foot cliff and spent 6 days on the wall, giving it absolutely everything I had, physically and mentally and emotionally. If you don't have a good partnership, there will be no success. I was super lucky to have someone who was willing to go up there with me and not even free climb, but just Jumar behind me and support me and belay me.
She needs big, audacious things to keep her motivated and psyched, but there's something about her that actually loves totally uncertain goals that are completely outside of her scope of knowledge.
Every day you have to give it your all. There's no easy days, there's no relaxing. It's an incredibly taxing and hard style of climbing.
This is by far the hardest I've ever seen Emily suffer. I was just incredibly blown away by the depths of perseverance and emotional strength she has. In 3 years, she's gone from completely failing on 5'9" crack climbs to freeing a route on El Cap.
Just over a year ago, I couldn't even fathom free climbing El Cap, and I'm really, really proud of what I did.